Deplan bring it down off his chest. Marshall stabs it away. Now it's hit on the volley. Oh, that's an absolutely incredible first goal in Cincinnati's MLS history by Leonardo Bertone.
What's up, world? Yeah, all right, it's your boy Sway from MTV News. First MLS game is in the books, so we are back for episode 46 of Knifey Lion Radio. Ooh, baby, we are the gift. My name is Jonah. Follow KLR on Twitter if you are insane and haven't already. Joining me in the Major League studio is the indoor instigator, Zach.
Hi, a big MLS hello to everyone.
Howdy. Joining us via 2 cans and a string is Nick from Soccer.
Hello, everybody.
He planned that. Today, we get the pleasure of talking about FCC's first MLS game ever with our weekly recap. Sorry. We'll pick our FCC
MANNN
of the week. That's Zach's favorite segment. We'll look for
DEKEL Smash.
That's right. Dekel lives. We'll play a little game called FCC Survivor. Folks, it's very topical, and I'll explain it when we get there. We will dissect coaching decisions in a way only we can. What's the name of the guy who stopped listening?
I've forgotten about him.
Yeah, fuck him. In
Catch Watch.
And we may have an MLS Minute from Kevin Wallace as of recording time. I'm not sure. So you get to be surprised right along with us. Anything else gets put in the Vitamix for a smooth blended edition of
POTPOURRI.
Folks, I'm going to be honest.
Have you seen that, the Curb Your Enthusiasm, where his voice is extra low and he's pissing off Cheryl because he just keeps saying, Cheryl, listen, bow, bow.
I've had that happen to me in an OCD way where I tried to make the lowest noise possible, and I feel like I can't quite get there, and it upsets me psychologically.
I clearly wasn't shouting last night. My voice is higher than ever.
Folks, don't worry, this is written down. I'm going to be honest. This podcast already has a different feel to it. We're a major league production now, even if the actual production has stayed the same. The winds of change are blowing gently across the back of my neck, raising my hairs while we raise our game. With that said, right before kickoff, the face of our beloved John Harkes flashed across my mind, and I hope he watched from his cave and gave a little smirk. But more likely, he smashed a wine glass in his bare hand. But Harkes, thank you for allowing all of Cincinnati into the John Harkes Cave of Wonders. Also, today's episode is sponsored by Burger King, famous for their roast beef sandwiches. Did you guys think about John Harkes at all, or am I just crazy? I yelled at Molly Malone's, 3 cheers for Harkes!
How'd that go?
There was no reply. So let's get into the recap. First FCC MLS game ever. I'd like to set the scene. I watched at Molly Malone's with the pride and some people I'd never seen before, but it was pretty packed. Zach, set the scene for the people out there wanting to know how Zach watched the game.
Alone.
At home, I'm assuming.
At home. Lights out. Living room.
Guerrilla radio.
I fell asleep, as I often do, putting my kid to bed. And luckily, I woke up on my own at 9:30 and said, oh, shit. Got down there. It was a little groggy.
They woke you up real fast.
I perked up.
Yeah. Nick, how about you?
Very similar to Zach. I was down in my basement. Lights off. Sound was cranking. And it was glorious.
Well, if you're not fucking amped yet. But like I said, Molly Malone's was packed up.
I do want to mention that I had 2 kids sleeping here, so I couldn't go out. But Molly Malone's was probably my next choice. But it was the basement for me. So I just wanted to throw that in.
They got to work on their TVs, though. It's I was excited to finally be able to tell who was who, but I really couldn't. And I did yell a lot. Lots of random nonsense. So if I sound extra sensual, well, that's why. But let's get into the game. Starting lineup sponsored by Cliff Bars. T-Tom was out there, of course. Deplan, or as apparently Deplan, John Strong made a point of saying that I can't do it. DePlan said, no, it is DePlan. But I've heard him say it, and he doesn't exactly say DePlan. He says, Matthew DePlan. So, fuck you, Matt. Don't try to change me, bro. Waston Haglund, Alvis Powell, Victor Ulloa, Bertone, Roland Lamar, Corbin Bone. Yeah, Corbin Bone. Eric Alexander and Adi. I mean, this is just your bread and butter. What did you think?
Well, I thought, this ain't no 3-4-3. And
apparently it wasn't.
yeah. So I was working it out in my head. I didn't jump straight to the 4-2-3-1, but I was like, that's definitely 4 at the back.
How about Corbin Bone?
Corbin Bone, it was surprising, but he's good. Well, also, the other thing that was noticeable in the lineup was no Cruz at all.
Yeah, he wasn't on the bench or anything.
Super strange, because we know he traveled.
Did he?
Yeah, he's in all the videos and the Instagram and everything. Alan Cruz is in it, tagged in him. Looks happy, wearing the training jacket.
Seattle Edibles claim another victim.
Yeah, so I don't know what was going on there. The preseason was a wash.
Just throw it all away.
So there you go.
Nick, anything jump out of you?
Yeah, I mean, kind of what we just mentioned. I mean, if you think back to last season, preseason, it was kind of the similar thing. It was like they were playing, if I remember correctly, formations that we ended up not really playing. They were playing personnel like put together in such a way that doesn't really make sense if you look at the season that came afterwards. And it's kind of a similar thing. Like I look back at the preseason and it's like it just seems so discombobulated to what we're probably what we saw last night, what we're probably going to see. But I felt good about the starting lineup. You know, I know we're going to get to this, but with Powell, there was a lot to be left desired, I think, with Powell in the preseason. And I know that everyone's kind of like harping on him right now, which we'll get into. But I think he was questionable for me out of the starting lineup, even more so than Bone, because Bone's the kind of guy, like, you know, he's in the midfield, he's got the chops. I mean, if he can get the ball to his foot, he's going to make great passes. He's going to keep the continuity rolling with the team. So, yeah, I was actually pretty happy with the starting lineup, maybe aside from seeing Powell starting.
It's great seeing Alexander out there. He doesn't look old and weird at all. But yeah, let's just skip. Let's get the obvious out of the way. The first few minutes, they had some great chances. One that went off the post. I'm still not sure. Or Seattle off the post. I'm not positive that he didn't. TT didn't get a touch on it before it hit the post and then hit his glove. I didn't see a view one way or another. That convinced me. But I'm going to assume he got the slightest of touches and pushed it to the side. But yeah, they could have easily gotten a goal in the first 3 minutes of the game. They had 2 really good chances. At 13th minute, against the run of play, you would say, was the goal. So we should just talk about the goal now. That's what everyone came to see. It was the only goal of the game for either team. DePlan, rewatching it, I was surprised. I didn't realize that was him who had done the little juggling act before Bertone got his shot off. But yeah, DePlan made a long run, and then he flicked it over a guy's head, and looked like he tried to have a shot, and he got blocked, and the ball fell perfectly to Bertone, who fucking ripped the shot of a lifetime, of a team, of a franchise, at least so far. Zach, talk to me. Bertone, he's the best player we've ever had now.
It was fucking glorious. And you see that ball coming down, and Adi's kind of running at it with his back to the goal, and you're just like, get out of the fucking way, man. Don't touch it. Luckily, he didn't. And yeah, it was great. I couldn't celebrate out loud because my kid was sound asleep. But it stirred something inside of me that I haven't felt in a long, long time.
It was U.S. Open Cup Mitch saving a goal feeling.
It felt like that. And I should mention, I think I texted you guys, like, the lead up to the game and the anthem and everything. It felt like we were in a final for whatever reason. Like, I had the nerves like that. The players looked like it too. And to score that goal, you're just like, oh, shit. Let's park the bus.
At that moment, I wasn't exactly confident that we were going to hold the fort the whole game based on the start. But I felt like I busted a vein in the back of my head, and for the rest of the game, I had a throbbing headache, and it was pretty brutal, but definitely worth it. At one point, I was screaming and nothing was coming out, so I knew that I'd maybe pushed it too hard. But Nick, just describe your orgasmic sensations you were feeling as you saw that ball go in the back of the net.
Well, the listeners probably don't know this, but Zach and Jonah, you guys tend to be like ahead of me on the stream always. So I'll get text messages and I'll know that something's about to fucking happen. And I got a text message from Zach that said, "Ah." So he wasn't celebrating in his house, but he was definitely celebrating via text.
It could have been bad
screaming
too.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I didn't know what it was. I just knew that something like big happened. And then DePlon is juggling the ball, like he said, and it gets kind of like a half-ass clearance from Seattle. And that strike, I mean, when he hit that, and I just saw like a laser going in the corner, I thought that was just an absolute world-class shot. And to see that in high def and all these different camera angles, no, seriously, it made me think like this. I mean, obviously, this sounds very cliche. We all know this, but it really felt like welcome to the next level. That hit in that stadium and that atmosphere, oh man, it was truly orgasmic. There's no doubt about it. And I thought it was kind of a little neat tidbit that Fry, who's a Swissman, is that what you call him, Swissman? Swiss man?
It's a swai.
Yeah.
Fry, he was a swai.
Yeah, Bertoni, a Swiss man, put in the past another Swiss.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw my tweet or noticed it at the time. After the goal celebration, Kendall Waston in Bertoni's face gave him about three smacks. I don't know what he was accomplishing.
I did see that.
Bertoni kind of looked like, what the fuck is this guy? Like, this is real. He's like, yeah, I know, man. I've been scoring bangers for young boys. I've been banging them for young boys for years.
Like Rio Ferdinand used to do that all the time, smack people in the face, I think.
I did notice he was kind of like pulling his hand back. It was more like a smack pull back against, so it wasn't like a full force. But I mean, Kendall Waston's fucking huge. There's no way that felt good. But yeah, Molly Malone's went fucking as it would insane. This is a tidbit for all you meme fans out there. I lost control of my body. I gave 3Def a hug. So just like it was a meeting of the memes. I don't think he was expecting it either. But yeah, so the next I'd say 5 to 10 minutes, we looked fucking great. Like all of a sudden, every player just like had a belief that like, oh shit, yeah, we're up and we know what we're doing. And like our passes were actually coming off. I was like, we might score another fucking goal. It was not to be, but Zach, how'd you feel about this next 10 minutes when as I was screaming, style on him, style on him. I was screaming, pour it on. Felt great.
Yeah, we were incredible after that goal. Like, I think I texted you guys like, "Oh my god, we're fucking great! Get in there, Corbin." Because he had a couple good touches in there too, and you're like, "Oh, baby,
we could do this." And I listened. Actually, I couldn't hear it at Molly Malone's, but I was watching most of it again today. And just for those few minutes before the goals got poured on us, Stu Holden was like, "This looks like a confident team. This is like, you don't want to say this." He was just like hyping it up. I was like, that's right. And this is me watching, already knowing we're about to get fucking destroyed. But yeah, well, it felt good to hear.
And I don't want to echo him too much, but he had already talked a lot about Powell. It's like Powell's just getting caught up way too much. And that was happening before the goal. And even I remember, like, I think maybe the goal had even gone in on my TV already. And Nick responded to like Powell being out of position.
And trying to dribble his way out and not really being able to do it. One time he got saved by it deflected off one of their guys and we got a throw in. But otherwise, he looked like someone who hadn't played in the MLS very much. And he definitely has. But before we assault his character completely, Nick, how about those 10 minutes when we were fucking kings of the MLS? What were you thinking?
Sorry, I had you on mute.
Talk to me about those 10 minutes after the goal, bro.
No, I mean, all we had to go off of was preseason, of course. So when we scored that goal and we had this stint of like just phenomenal play, I mean, I'm thinking, what the fuck was I missing when I was watching preseason? Because this is a totally different looking team. The confidence was there. The continuity was there. People were getting in good positions for as much as we're going to probably come down on Powell. He had like a shot, I think, from like, I don't know, 35 yards out or something. But like, it was just like all this confidence kind of came to fruition. And I was stunned. I mean, literally stunned. And like, my body was like, I was just like glowing over here because I was like, I can't believe I'm watching that team that got beat down by the Fire and the Crew just fucking taking it to the Sounders right now in their stadium in our inaugural match. Like it just felt fucking surreal. That goal and that 10 minutes were fucking blissful.
Before the game started, I had said out loud, I said, I don't know, I might have said 3-1, 4-1. I said, if we lose 3-1, but we score that first goal, it'll be okay. Because we had that, like I said, about 10 minutes where, we felt like fucking kings of the world. And that feeling was enough to get me through getting smashed the rest of the game. So if it would have been 4-0 and then we got like some kind of, our inaugural goal was like a meaningless tap in at the end, it wouldn't have felt the same. So I'm happy it happened this way.
It also it trumped the whole preseason for me, those 10 minutes, and then even some before the goal. And there was also moments in the second half where like we showed more potential in this 4-1 loss than we saw throughout that whole preseason. I think we all agree, like, we feel better after this 4-1 defeat than we felt about the team after that Crew loss, because, like, we've got some shit in us.
Yeah, it's unfortunate our next game's against Atlanta. It'll be harder to build off what we started, but we scored a goal. That's over with. We played a tough game. And
I mean, for me, the main one is Powell looked great bombarding down the line a few times. He does that little Ronaldo flick behind his leg and cuts inside. Never came to anything. But if he has some real cover, I think he can be really threatening. But you just can't trust him to get back. Someone else has to be back there.
The first Seattle goal, 27th minute. First time getting burned down the left, I think. Kelvin Leardom scored that. That was where TT jumped out, pushes it basically straight to the Seattle guy, who gets a pretty easy goal. And so that was 14 minutes after our glorious goal. So 33rd minute, if you watch them, is like kind of a mirror image of what happened in the last one. And they scored again. They get another goal in the 43rd minute. So before the first half ended, after all that joy, we were down 3-1. At that point, I was hoping, all right, 3-1, I can live with this. Maybe we'll get one back just for fun. But let's really park the bus, guys. Come on, I don't want to get fucking Minnesota'd out there.
No, I think for me it was a stark realization of like, this is the next level. I mean, it got fucking merciless out there, which is, I mean, I'm all for. I mean, I'm glad to be playing in a league where it's so fast that, you can just get fucking hammered in a matter of minutes with a bombardment of goals. Just to get back to what Zach said, I think that, obviously on Twitter and everywhere else online, Powell's really getting it today, and he should, rightfully so. But I think the silver lining and all that is exactly what you said, is that he looked very threatening, especially in the second half when he got the ball at his feet and he could take people on. If he had a more of an offensive role, less of a defensive role, that there is definitely a niche for him. As far as the two goals we just talked about, he was definitely at fault, at least at one of those goals. I mean, not getting back, he did look kind of lost, and he almost seemed like he was almost gassed or something in the first half, with him just not getting back and leaving all kinds of space open behind him. I don't know what type of formation would be conducive to him being able to, maybe play on the outside midfield, because he does get the speed, but not have to get back.
There's one more goal, second half in the 87th minute, when they were just fucking piling it on. I was literally screaming out for mercy, Braveheart style, but they gave no mercy. 61st minute, Darren Maddox came in for Eric Alexander.
I remember thinking, like, he was playing like we were in desperation mode, which we were, and he wasn't really staying in position or anything. He was going anywhere to get the ball. He really wanted the ball. I remember thinking that, but he didn't produce much, if anything, but it's not really his fault.
Yeah, 73rd minute, Kakuta Mane came in, who has not played a minute with this team yet, but he was out there, and Caleb Stenko came in for the last 4 minutes. The rest of the bench was Lasso, Blake Smith, Spencer Ritchie, and Ledesma. I was really hoping to see Ledesma get a couple minutes. Obviously, at this level, they realized, hey, we should keep going down this side. This seems promising, and they fucking just pounded it over and over again. And
I mean, we could talk about this in Koch Watch, but there was one thing when they interviewed him at halftime. They're like, "Oh, what do you need to do?" Whatever, and he's like, "Oh, we just need to hold the ball better. We need more possession." Just because he didn't say it out loud doesn't mean he wasn't thinking it. But I would have thought the first thing he was like, "We're being exploited down their left side. We can't stop anything coming down that side. Maybe try to do something about it." But there was no change in the second half at all. It was the same story down Powell's side.
Yeah, I also read the interview. He said that after the Crew game, he realized maybe this 3-4-3 wasn't working and decided to make a change. I don't know. That's pretty hilarious. Well, we could talk about that.
They said that on the broadcast, which they must have talked about during their production meeting or whatever.
Yeah.
We all knew it wasn't working weeks before that. And then so you got to think, I thought we looked so much better in this formation. What if we had done this the whole preseason? would everyone have felt more comfortable. You would have known what to expect from Powell, how much you can trust him in that position.
Yeah, I don't know. Nick, before you get into it, let me give you some of these stats. The basic stats stick out pretty good. We had 7 shots, 3 shots on goal. Seattle had 24 shots, 9 on goal. I only had to make 2 saves. 6 corner kicks for them. Only 1 corner kick for us. I mean, I liked that we weren't just whipping in crosses from the side, but there's a few times like just fucking jimmy it up, man. Get it down there and whip one in. And the fact that we get down there makes sense that we only had 1 corner kick. 13 fouls for us, 6 fouls for them. Possession was 36% to 64%. And yeah, it definitely seemed like that. But
yeah, I mean, just a couple thoughts. I definitely think that what Zach said is absolutely true. I mean, I took so much more away from this game than I did the entire preseason. I think that formation was much more suited for what we're trying to do. I mean, we had no midfield play at all in the preseason. It just didn't happen. Maybe in the Charleston game a little bit, but last night we did have a couple spells of putting some stuff together through the midfield. But I definitely think the formation we had last night was much more promising than the bullshit we were toying with in the preseason. But I think for me, the final thought is we're missing that special guy in the middle. We are, I think, Real Snarklake on Twitter, who's hilarious, by the way. He brought the point up that we need a number 10. And we do. And I think that's what we've been lacking. I mean, again, I know this is my BFF, as you've dubbed him. For me, Alexander Katai for the Fire was the standout player that we didn't have. And Higuain was the standout player the Crew had that we didn't have. And last night, Ladero, for me, I think that's what it boils down to. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of things we need to learn. You really need somebody that can get their foot on the ball and kind of slow it down when it needs to slow down.
You heard it here first, folks. We need a number 10.
Where's Matty? What would Matty Fernandez be doing out there? God damn his broken knees. How dare he?
I was thinking about it last night, and Nazmi can play as a number 10. I feel like that's his preferred role, but could you picture him being successful last night at all? And watching that, I was like, no way, man. He'd be out of his depth. Maybe he'll prove me wrong. But
Corbin Bone did not have a very good game. And when I was rewatching in the first half, he had 3 giveaways within 20 minutes. And I was bummed because I wanted him, when I saw he was starting, I was like, oh, Bone's going to get the goal. Of course, it'll be our USL guy who gets it. But unfortunately, it didn't go that way.
Sorry, Corbin Bone's defense. He's one guy who definitely looked nervous as hell.
Yeah, and I don't begrudge him. Yeah, and he wasn't the reason we got scored on.
And I hope
4 times.
And I hope nobody does because.
His best friend is Powell today for sure. But
but when they were walking out, man, he did look nervous.
Yeah, he couldn't believe he was starting either. Hey everybody, gonna take a quick break in the action to let you know that this week's episode has also been brought to you by Sin Solutions Technology Services Backend Sourcing. If your company has coding challenges that can't be met by mom and pop data structure framework node wranglers, Sin Solutions Technology Services Backend Sourcing is the answer for your global, local, national reactive OS stacking problems. CTSBS has comprehensive syntax queries for all the UX and UI compiler bootstrap framework deviances that every Tom, Dick, and Harry knows about. Finally, an asynchronous programming language solution everyone can understand. Don't get bogged down with relational database management anymore. Call the folks you can trust at Sin Solutions Technology Services Backend Sourcing today. Now back to the podcast. But just as far as some of the players go, I put some really poor notes next to a couple of players. How do we think TT? I gave him a lot of shit this preseason. For me, just body language and everything. I liked what I saw better than I did against the Crew. I don't know if that's just me.
And I think I texted you guys multiple times saying TT is God.
Yeah.
He did make some saves, and he can't just let that roll.
No.
Yeah, he can't let that.
There was one he came over, he jumped over a handful of players and punched one away really good. I thought he had a good game. He had 5 motherfucker. It's just my headphones. No one else could hear that noise. He had 5 saves. That's pretty good.
Deplan. I when I was rewatching, I noticed how he was getting really fucking up in the shit. he was really making some offensive movements. I wasn't expecting it, so it was nice to see him up high. And what do you guys think about Nick Hagelin? Because I've literally seen the complete opposite ends of the spectrum. Some people saying like Hagelin was not worth it. He was absolute trash. Someone else said, thank God we spent the money on Hagelin. So like, well, he did some good covering, but so it was kind of hard to tell when if he was out of position, what was going on. It's clear they're not totally in sync together. The back line just in general, which makes sense. But did you think Hagelin had a good game, a horrible game, or somewhere in between? Because
I think Hagelin is a little bit of not an enigma for me, but the thing I like about him, I'll start there, is that he always finds a way to get in front of the ball. Like he's always finding a way to get a piece of the ball just about. But the problem is he's been a little bit unlucky if you take into account preseason as well, because he's had deflections that went in, and he's had a handball that led to like a penalty kick, I think, in preseason. So I guess it's kind of a good and bad thing, I guess. But I think I would prefer to have somebody like that who's to like I said, to get in front of a shot. I would rather have that and have the chance of a deflection or something else occurring than somebody having an open window to just unleash on goal. But
well, for one, Waston, he would be my man of the match. I thought he was great. I know it's hard to pick a central defender as your man of the match when you've given up 4 goals, but and I think without a doubt, Waston and Hagelin right now should be our 2 in the middle back there. Some people were saying, I don't understand how Defender of the Year doesn't get to start from the USL. There's no way after watching last night do I put Lasso in over Hagelin. I thought it was really odd. I try not to read too much if we're going to do the pod because I don't want to repeat what other people have said or whatever, swipe anyone's thoughts. I did see someone asked Pat Brennan, like, what he thought of Powell. It's like, he said, not good enough. And by that same token, Hagelin wasn't good enough. That's kind of bullshit. I think Hagelin was under way too much pressure because of Powell. That took him out of his game. And I think also Eric Alexander, he got kind of fucked too. Powell has a lot of people to answer to, I think. Sorry, I'm talking too much. I just want to point out, I want Powell in the team.
I liked Lamar. He looked the most dangerous on the ball when he had time, as he did in the preseason. But anything else about the midfield? Like Nick said, we actually had a bit of a midfield, which was kind of wild to see us like building a few things, which we did not get to see at all. So
yeah, I mean, it looked better than preseason. And you look at those 2 guys, Uoa and Bertone, they're both, you have it written there, they both looked calm. They're both confident on the ball. They're
Eric Alexander, I have one word. I have lumbering. It's just kind of the way he looks out there. But let's talk about Adi. I said he didn't see much of the ball, but it seemed like the naked eye that he was giving a good effort. Zach, you had some advanced stats that said maybe he wasn't doing as much as we thought he did.
Yeah, it's weird because when I was watching the game, I mean, obviously we produced almost nothing outside of our goal, but his effort was there. It seemed like, I mean, he was all over the place. But then if you look at like those Audi stats, he was at negative 98, which is the worst of any player. It's different for a striker who didn't get a goal. I think Stuart Holden pointed it out too. There was only like 1 or 2 where like the ball came into him with his back to goal where he could hold it up. He just wasn't getting those. Like, how many connections did you see Bone to Adi?
Not many to Adi from anybody. I at no point was like, fucking Adi. I just remember thinking, man, he has not gotten the ball very much.
I think a lot of people are jumping to conclusions very, very early. I mean, we played in one of the most intense atmospheres in this league. First game preseason that had just all kinds of crazy different lineups. And, so it's going to take a second. I mean, and I think we saw some glimpses last night, and that's absolutely right. I mean, with Lamar and Loa and, some of these guys that were creating havoc last night for us every now and then. When we start finding our chemistry, finding our groove, and we're playing, at home against teams that aren't as strong as the Sounders, I think it's going to be. I don't know. I'm actually taking much more positive away from last night than anything negative because, when we were looking good, we looked fucking really good.
Well, Nick, I'll just, since you kind of answered the question I was going to ask next, you can, in one sentence, would you say that you're more confident and less confident than you were before the game happened as far as the season goes?
I'm definitely more confident.
Zach?
Yeah, I'm going to say more than one sentence. I am more confident. And my takeaway is I never felt like we were like, oh man, we're playing like out of our depth here. we look like a team that if we iron the shit out, we can compete. Whereas like against Columbus, I was like, oh man, we're not ready for the league. Yeah, I feel much better now. And I know it's odd because we got fucking crushed, but yes, more confident.
I know some people are saying we don't have the players, but it seemed to me just like the players not playing together. And if they get any kind of rhythm together, I'm not as concerned. So I'll say more confident too. So you heard it here first. Every fucking one of us more confident after shellacking.
Not even a full week with this formation.
No. So look for our 2-6-8-1 formation next week. Just to throw everything for a week. But let's move on to this week's. Zach's created a segment, the FCC
Man
of the Week. Winner, as usual, gets a $50 gift card from James the Jeweler. Can be redeemed only on Tuesdays between 1 and 3 p.m. Nick, give me your FCC Man of the Week.
Oh, it's got to be Bertoni. I mean, just an incredible goal, FCC history. Yeah, I have to give it to him for that goal.
Zach.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm not even going to vote then. Bertoni, enjoy. $50 to James the Jeweler. Get your Swiss ring on. And make sure you're there Tuesdays between 1 and 3 p.m. If you have practice, you are not allowed to send a proxy. Apologies, must show up in the flesh. Bringing back this week, I had to hear it. And see, LA Galaxy just gave a statue to David Beckham outside of StubHub Center. Sorry, Landon. Our statue to our FCC hero will be this week's edition of
Dekel Smash.
That's right, Dekel Smash will return and will keep the name for the man who benamed it. And the only one we could think of so far was Deplan getting slammed in the rib on that first Seattle goal. He ran into the goal scorer, took it pretty hard. He was the one who got smashed, but I'm having a hard time thinking of any other incident that is worthy of a Dekel Smashness.
I think that's the only one that stands out to me other than the fact that we got fucking Dekel smashed on the scoreline.
Hey-o.
I think Hagelin put a few hits on people, but I can't picture any of them. I just remember him, people being angry at him multiple times.
We did it with a Midwestern charm. Not really.
Yeah.
How could you be mad?
Yeah, so same Dekel Smash was the plan getting brutalized, but the Dekel Smash that I wish would happen would be Chad Marshall getting an elbow to the face.
There he looks like he's gotten a few.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah, you hate to say someone has a punchable face, but he's got one. And in my list of most hated MLS players, I got him up there side by side with Wondolowski.
Well, you heard it here first. Folks, while I was recording, I forgot to introduce it, but luckily he delivered. So it's time for this week's
Kevin's MLS Minute. Hope he can explain. Kevin's MLS Minute. He could get a little.
So here he goes.
MLS opening weekend got started with Michael Bradley in Toronto proving everyone right by going out and getting a brace while beating Philly 3-1. Not exactly how we saw that going. James O'Connor lives to see another day with a spectacular come-from-behind 2-2 draw against NYCFC. Columbus tried and couldn't score more than just one against New York Red Bulls. A home opener that failed to sell out. Dallas and New England with a 1-1 snoozer. Colorado and Portland in a sloppy one that's probably noteworthy, if only because it was 18 degrees, coldest MLS game in history. RSL and Houston, boring. Vancouver and Minnesota both look really, really good. Loons winning 3-2 there. Zlatan did Zlatan things. LA Galaxy winning. Zlatan also almost broke Schweinsteiger's back. Atlantis looked absolutely pathetic against the Lucharoos, and LAFC had a spectacular winner against 10-man SKC.
This week's brand new segment, and this will be a recurring one, whether you like it or not, it's FCC Survivor. As you all know, nothing is more firmly planted in the current cultural zeitgeist than the CBS smash hit Survivor. So with that as the inspiration, each week you'll have to pick one player to vote off the team's island, never to return. You can never pick the same player twice, so while your first instinct may be to boot someone like Powell off, exactly, no you won't, you'll probably need him in the long run. So choose wisely while snuffing out the torch of this player. Has to be someone who played starter or came off the bench. Nick, I don't know if you're ready to handle this, so Zach, I'll ask you first. You got to vote somebody off the island. They can never return again this season, unfortunately, and they had to have played. Whose torch are you snuffing out this week?
Sweet Eric Alexander.
I'll have to rethink mine because, the obvious choice for me was Eric, and it sounds horrible. Like
I didn't know the segment existed.
I know.
So I'm just going with my heart.
Nick, how about you? You can never see this player again, and you can never pick him again. So even if Eric Alexander plays next week, he cannot be voted off again. So choose wisely. Who's snuffing? Whose torch are you snuffing?
Oh boy. Well, oh man.
Yeah, it's like that. I like
I'm sorry.
segments that
I
make
gotta
you
go
think.
with Pal. I gotta go with Pal.
Oh wow!
Just
Never
based off
again.
Just never again. Just with last night. He
He's
was
dead. You never get to see him.
Poor Eric Alexander. He's listening for sure, thinking he was hung out to dry the whole fucking game. He couldn't go forward. He didn't want to hang back, and it's all Powell's fault. Meanwhile, this prick is like, Eric Alexander.
Take your torch and leave, or whatever Jeff says.
The tribe has spoken.
Yeah, grab your stuff. So wow, Nick, brave. I respect you going on a limb because we need like some shock edits to get FCC Survivor off the ground. You've got Powell, you got Alexander. I was like my gut was going with Alexander, and but I'm gonna go with a harsh pick. I'm gonna kick Corbin Bell off the island.
Oh damn!
It's nothing personal, but I think we could get by without him.
That just makes me feel sad.
It's not. This isn't legally binding, so Corbin, I know you're listening.
He's expecting another kid.
I have several properties in Northside, so we're bonded that way. But I think if Zach would have said something else, I probably would have gone Eric Alexander. But this is sweeps week, so Survivor got to do some crazy stuff. So this week's I guess so far this week we voted off. I'm gonna write it down and make sure you guys don't try to repeat next week when Zach tries to kick Alexander off the island again. I'm gonna remember.
I already know my next pick.
Eric, Zach, Powell, Nick.
Wow, Nick.
Bone, me. So Corbin, don't take it personally. It's just a segment. Guys, what do you think about SEC Survivor? So far, it's been a smashing success. You can't get that on any other podcast. That's for damn sure. But we're already 3 hours into this episode, so let's move right along. Oh, God. This week's edition of Koch Watch. We'll do it fast. You'd hate to say you feel better about Koch after getting shellacked, but I'm happy he eventually realized the formation was not working. He has eyes. He saw what happened with the crew, and he switched it up. So, Nick, while you're giving a summary of your feelings about Koch, go ahead and throw in a temperature at any point. So, what are you thinking?
I think 65 degrees. He's at room temperature right now for me. I mentioned before the game started, I think I sent a text over saying he looks like he was about to puke when they were all like in the circle, doing their circle jerk before the game starts. He looked fucking really nervous. And so I don't know if that's playing into my decision or not, but yeah, I think it's too early to crank the temperature up. So I'm going 65.
We won't fire him yet. Zach, what are you thinking?
Well, I was thinking the whole time he should have seen the writing on the wall after the Battery game, and then after Chicago, and then
well, he finally saw
it against Columbus, and maybe a little too little too late on the whole formation switch. But I'm glad he did it. Again, I think he should have made some type of tactical change or something at halftime to protect our right side. That being said, he can stay.
Okay. I'm more just confused about like Alan Cruz because we don't see what's going on. We don't know. Maybe he's fucking sucking butt in practice or something. But it's kind of like Nazmi was last year, where we are just assuming a lot based on nothing, and we're like, hey, what's going on here? So some just surprising things, and I'm glad Corbin got in there. But that's pretty crazy too. But for me, 72 degrees. I found myself not mad at him at all. And honestly, I didn't see many people upset with Koch just in general. And usually everyone's pretty knee-jerk against him. So all in all, surprisingly, good week for Koch.
No, I didn't.
His best friend's Powell this week, am I right?
Yeah, I didn't see too much stupid shit about wanting Koch out. And maybe when people are like, where are the Koch out people, are they referring to us usually? Or
No,
just-
there's people. There's real people. It's not just us.
Because I'm usually just kidding, but I did see some stupid shit about like Lasso should be in over Hagland, which I think that's fucking dumb. And then that Ledesma should have started, and I don't think that's true either. I think his starting lineup was actually pretty good.
With what Zach just said, I saw this too on social media, like talking about like, why is Ledesma not playing and why is Forrest Lasso? Like, look, guys, look at the game last night. Like, it's fucking 10 times faster than USL. Like, just because someone's a superstar in USL, it's just not. It's not going to translate like the way you think it's going to translate. I mean, that was fucking relentless last night. I mean, they were just raining shit on us. And if you're going to tell me that you think if Forrest Lasso was in, that it was going to make some big fucking difference, like, you're fucking kidding yourself.
Also, he'll get playing time. Forrest Lasso's going to play this year.
Yeah, I've no doubt he'll be a major player this
And
season.
Ledesma will get some playing time. But Kendall Waston will probably, if he's probably I don't know, in the Gold Cup, he'll be gone. I mean, there's going to be chances for Lasso, and people get hurt, and so he'll get a chance to play, and I think Ledesma will too, and maybe Alan Cruz. You never know. Maybe he'll get a chance to play at some point.
He'll be in the Gold Cup too.
Yeah, he's good enough for Costa Rica. Not good enough for Koch. This week's edition of
It's like when fucking Tevez went to West Ham, couldn't get a game. It's exactly like that.
It's just like that. But eventually he got a few goals. This week's edition of
Potpourri.
Guys, did you see Seattle? They went fucking hard at FCC on Twitter. Chill out, bro.
Yes, of course I did. I also saw Pat Brennan, like, he said something like in a British way. It made me cringe pretty hard. It's like,
Up the lads.
a bit savage that. That is what he said.
He was pretty negative, you know. We're way more positive, surprisingly, than Pat Brennan is. And he's usually the voice of joy when it comes to that.
A bit savage that.
I don't see it. Did he delete it? That'd be, wow, Pat, deleting tweets. Wow, Pat. Running from your tweets, brah. Crazy, man. You got to own that shit, though. I've had a great few days on Twitter. Some of my tweets really blowing up. Nobody else had posted that video of Waston slapping Bertone, so that got me some.
Yeah, he deleted it. What the fuck?
That's pretty crazy. TT Chan, I should say this. You know, last year we struggled as well with the absence of Mitch Says No. People were trying to get one for TT. And organically, if you can believe it, last night, I'll give credit to Max, a.k.a. Kakarot. He went with a TT, whoop, whoop, TT, whoop, whoop. And when the crowd joined in, I'll tell you what, it just sounded right. So you've heard it here first, folks. Don't be surprised when you hear that after every fucking TT chant. So practice your TT, whoop, whoop, TT, whoop. Wow, it sounds crazy when it's just me, but you got to take my word for it. Nick, I'll get you involved in this. I was just curious, what do you think the future of KLR is now that we're a major league podcast? I mean, this is the episode, really. I mean, we had the preseason, but we've really turned the corner now, and we're major.
I just can't get that comment about me being replaced out of my head. So I think that is
Needs
probably,
to be addressed some more.
That's probably, yeah. I feel like I'm going to be kicked off here any day now. I just hope we're not getting fucking crushed 4-1 every game, because that would be that'd be a future I don't want to live in.
But what if each of our one goals was a fucking banger?
I was actually I really liked the fact that the Sounders went so hard against us, because it's like that's what I kind of liked about the USL, because it seemed like it would be a little bit more savage than like Major League Soccer, but. No, I like it. I like fucking knives out, dude. So yeah, I think that we're going to be right at home.
No, they were piling it on till the very end. They were trying to get that fifth goal. They weren't fighting around.
The best part was like there was a Sounders fan was explaining it, like what the comment, the tweet meant, and he was like, yeah, I don't know, STC's PR person apparently doesn't know how to do banter and blah blah blah, and like all these other people were coming in like, yeah, the fucking Sounders don't forget anything. Like, don't say anything stupid. And I'm like, oh, we're going to say more stupid shit. Don't worry about that.
This is just the beginning. We got plenty of dumb shit to say. I did say after our goal, I was like, that was a fucking classic Koch goal. It's like up 1-0. Had absolutely nothing to do with the game. You know, like if you had been watching everything up to that goal, you'd be like, oh, this is not going to end well. They'll be like, oh, how we score? I'm like, fucking 30 yards out on a fucking rope. That's how.
Yeah, and then it would be classic fucking Birdo, like sign Koch up for another 3 seasons. Like,
loving what I'm seeing out there with the goals. But if you took them away. What else? Next week, Atlanta. Me and Zach are traveling down. What I was thinking last night, because that game was so fucking late and it was like midnight and the game like hadn't even ended yet, and I was so tired, I was thinking, I was like, oh man, I don't want to drive to Atlanta. It was just because I was so tired at that moment. It was as if I had to like drive in the morning, but that was already my initial thought. And but it looks like fun. I saw there was fucking a million news crews in Seattle covering all the FCC fans, and there were a lot of them. There were some good reaction shots after the goal. People I knew fucking getting loose. And hopefully Atlanta, we have at least a goal to celebrate, because I want to have that feeling on the road as well. Zach, what are your feelings, dreams, aspirations about the coming week?
yeah, I think it was Friday at about 9:00. I went to see a band play, and I told Megan, I was like, man, I feel like shit. I'm like, the thought of driving home from Atlanta after that game is already making me tired.
You don't have to go.
No, I really want to
okay.
go. No, what I think is going to happen is that Powell's going to fucking score, and Nick's going to eat his words.
Yeah,
I
Nick,
had the
only
same
one who's been
feeling.
ripping on Powell.
And there were some Atlanta fans were saying like, oh, we advanced in the Champions League, we're going to have our B team out there. And I was like, even if it's like 40% of their B team, which I think that's the most, we're really in for it.
Yeah, I mean, if fucking Breck Shea is going to score a screamer against us, there's something horrible.
Yeah, I
like
mean,
that.
they're not going to put a bunch of slouches out there for their home opener on national TV.
I did watch. Did either of you guys watch their second leg of their Champions League game?
Just highlights.
Wow, they were fucking flying. It was so fast. Barco, who was not amazing last year, looks like he's got a lot of freedom now that Almiron's gone. He was fucking just running directly at people and putting the fear of God in them. But that's all right. No problem. We've proven we can deal with offenses who know what to do. And the what was it, South American Player of the Year? Have no fear. Hagelин's here. Hagelin's best. Obviously, we're going to talk about this game a lot because it was our first MLS game. But wow, we talked a lot about that game.
Well, it was pretty exciting, and I like that we're all feel pretty good about a 4-1 loss. Yeah, for Potpourri, I would say Jonah spoke to one of my longtime internet crushes in real life, and thank God he's married. I'd be pretty nervous.
Didn't go very well. Let's be honest with you. Don't think she's a listener, so don't have to worry. You know who's someone who I haven't seen at either Tifo painting or last night? Amelia, where are you? Are you out in the world? Are you staying home baking streusel every day? What's going on, Amelia? Get out there. You still got a spot on this podcast.
Amelia, if you want the gig, man, go for it.
Nah, just kidding.
I'm just kidding. Don't kick me off.
We do only have 2 chairs here.
2 computer chairs. I can get a stool for a third person. But yeah, I would say you'll probably get some negative takes from other outlets. But yeah, so if you came, besides Nick's Powell bashing, which is really uncalled for, yeah, overall, I'm feeling, like I said last week, I just want to see what we're going to run out there. I want to see the actual formation we're going to play, which clearly was different. And I want to see just what things are going to look like. And now that I've seen that, I do feel much better. So
you guys don't trust, say you do this, sorry, I'm going to keep talking about the game, but we've got this 4-2-3-1. Imagine it's exactly the same, only Justin Hoyt is playing right back, and then on the right side of that front 3, you've got Powell instead of Alexander.
Yeah.
Is that dangerous?
Can't be bad. I also feel like while he can get like juked out of his boots, Justin Hoyt, his positioning, he's not going to let himself get fucked over.
Yeah, he's not going to be like trotting back out of the opponent's box while they're about to score on us. He'll be back there doing something.
I just keep thinking of that, just him getting fucking frozen in the box in that, was it the Crew game he got?
Yeah, I mean, but then if you think of the rest of that game, that was really the one moment.
Yeah.
And it sounded like he was going to start based on everything I've heard. If he hadn't gotten hurt, he would have been out there. And I don't know what that would have meant for plan, or anything else. But go ahead, Nick.
Well, I think you're absolutely right. Like, I mean, if you can find some way to solidify that space in the field and our back third with a defensive player that's going to stay home, so to speak, yeah, you definitely got to threaten Powell. I mean, obviously I had to play Jonah's fucking game where I had to pick somebody to kick off the team.
Oh, I forgot about that already. Actually,
I'm not trying to like say doesn't need to be part of the team, but yeah, I don't know. I definitely feel like he's gonna fucking score an amazing goal next week, and I am gonna eat my fucking words. I can feel it.
No, he will. He'll get a hat trick for sure. I was going to crowdsource this, and the crowd being you two, because that's all is here. Next week, we'll be driving back Sunday. We'll probably get back in the middle of the night, and our episodes come out Monday. So the question: do we attempt to record the podcast during the 6-hour drive back, or do we just push it back a day? What do you guys think?
Do you clock that at 6? Because I thought it was like 8.
Wow, I don't know. Wishful thinking, I guess. Either way, I'm just saying.
I got to be at work Monday at 8 in the morning.
Let's just say that it's either way. We're not going to be able to do the podcast Sunday. That's all I do know.
Yeah, we'll just record in the car.
6 hours, 39 minutes.
All right.
And if we're driving fast, I drove 11 hours to Mississippi. I'll never forget that. But that's for another day. Nick, final thoughts on the week. We're major now, buddy.
Yeah, I'd really like to hear more about that Mississippi adventure you had. No,
it's quite.
It was blissful, man. 4-1 thrashing was the most blissful thrashing I've ever experienced. I just kept thinking of the empty Bethlehem Stadium as we're like walking out, and all the Sounders fans, they're doing the thunderclap thing, and like Koch looks like he's gonna puke, and all the glossy fucking camera angles. I'm like, yeah, I'm loving it, man. It was wonderful.
Glossy.
Indeed. I'm not gonna let that slide.
I said glossy.
Glossy.
No, what? No, I said
glossy. That's a spicy glossy.
Oh, Nick.
You've been pretty good at not messing up words, though, Nick. I got to be honest with you. So I got to take every chance I get to insult you.
Much like Jonah likes to say, milk toast. Nick says discombobulated, I think, every week.
Interesting.
Love that word.
So, Zach, have a little joy on the mic right now. What was your final thought of the week? Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with Nick. It was the most satisfying 4-1 defeat I think we'll ever have. And yeah, I think we've got a lot of potential. Feeling good moving forward. Can't wait for next week. Can't wait for the week after.
And how about the week after that? It just keeps on going.
Yeah.
It's a long fucking
it's
season.
Forever.
It's a long ass season. Yeah, I will say we're kind of spoiled. Our first USL goal was like one of the best 10 goals of the year in the USL, and our first goal in MLS was fucking goal of the week to me. But yeah, my final thought: glory, glory. We're beautiful. We're great, and I don't know what else to say. I'm excited. Get ready for the shittiest sounding podcast you've ever heard next week. Unless you guys want to pull our money together, I can buy one of those Tascam things, the 4-track portable recorders. So if we each spend $75, I can run up to Guitar Center today.
I actually I have Chad from the podcast. I've got his Tascam at my house right now.
The handheld one?
Mm-hmm.
Can you ask Chad if we can bring it? We could be on condensers in the car.
Hey, no problem. Amelia, what's good? Still room in the car to go to Atlanta. Someone bought us a hotel.
Hotel points. Shout out to Scott. He doesn't listen to the podcast, but he's got it like that, I guess. Yeah, did you hear that, Nick? We're staying in a hotel for free. So fuck yourself. Nick?
I'm just stuck on the fact that you wanted me to chip in $75 to record on something, and I'm not going to be participating.
It won't be the last time.
Oh.
We could record on the way to Hell Is Real. Oh, dog in the house. All right. I got to think of some triumphant music to play for the end of this. Probably Slipknot. Rise to God. God bless. Jesus Christ. Merry Christmas.
never at all. You gotta go right now. Oh, never at all.